part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back! Welcome back to the podcast. This is Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster. I have risen from the grave like an adamantium skeleton to return to your ears. This is, of course, we had to do it. We had to talk about it. Podcast 616. We are here today to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, a.k.a. Douchepool and Sniveling. I can't believe we're still doing this. I was talking with producer Michael before we hit record. We have not done, first of all, we haven't done this podcast since X-Men 97, and we haven't talked about a movie since Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. So, you know, we could be a little rusty, could be a little out of sorts, not too dissimilar from the MCU, that old ass bitch. Thank you guys for coming back to listening. I just want to talk to the listeners. Everyone shut the fuck up. I just want to talk to my listeners. Thank you for listening. Isaac Snyder, I know you're listening. Maybe Ethan August is listening. Who knows? But I'm happy that you guys are listening to this. I also want to shout out that we already did a little bit of Deadpool coverage. I spoke with Chase Smith, our dear leader of Press Play Podcasts, about this movie, as well as the Robert Downey Jr. Announcement. But you know what? Listen to that podcast if you want to hear about the Doctor Doom of it all. I'm fine with it. Is the short answer. But today we are going to do a deep dive into Deadpool and Wolverine. And, you know, I had to bring the best of the best for this one. So my first guest coming to us via car. They are a writer, an actor, car traveler extraordinaire. Please welcome to your ears, Shelby Quinn.
Hello.
Shelby,
Hi, Damon.
Hi, Shelby. I don't think we've ever had someone call in from a car. Huge. Can you please confirm that you're not driving the car?
I am confirmed not driving the car, but I'm happy that I'm breaking the glass ceiling of our travelers.
Truly, you know, pushing those boundaries of what podcasts can do.
Yes.
Shelby, it's so wonderful to have you back. You spoke on Deadpool 1, correct? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you also were on here for Blade 2, so I feel like
so this is my hat trick.
Yes. You are truly our number one 20th Century Fox gal. Wouldn't want to do this without you. And I think just a little preview. I think you're going to have some hot takes. I believe when I asked you to do this, you sent 5 text responses in return.
Oh yeah. Well, I think my first thing was, besides confirming that I wanted to definitely come, was that I had ranted the day before for 45 minutes. So the majority, actually pretty much my entire therapy session about this movie.
Thank you. And we're going to get into those thoughts. Absolutely. But first, we've got a great guest. I can't believe, you know, every time you think it's not going to happen, but I confirmed with producer Michael. He said that he got him, and producer Michael never lies to me. He never lies to me. So listeners, we have the star of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, joining the Zoom. I can't believe it. You know, every time we do a Ryan Reynolds movie, you know, I think we're going to get him and then we don't get him. But this time we really, you know, I made producer Michael promise me that we would get him. And lo and behold, here he is. Let me open up the Zoom. Please welcome to your ears, the merc with the mouth, Ryan. Are you fucking kidding me? What?
Again?
Shelby, I'm so sorry. Shelby, you've been through this. You know the disappointment.
I know. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to say that we're being joined by my dear friend, Ryan Kappmeyer.
Thank you for having me. And don't worry, new customers with Mint Mobile still get unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month for the first 3 months.
Is that a Ryan Reynolds sponsorship?
Yeah, I think he does the commercials, doesn't he? Or he sold the company.
I think he owns that company.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
So he owns that and a soccer team?
And a gin company.
And a what company?
And I think a gin company, Aviation Gin.
Oh, gin. Oh, that seems right for him.
And I think Wrexham was sponsored by both Mint Mobile and, yes, okay, my boyfriend is nodding to confirm.
Yes. Yes, there will be a boyfriend on the
A
line.
boyfriend reveal.
A boyfriend reveal will happen later. But no, let me give a proper introduction. This is my dear friend, Chicago favorite, father to be. Huge news. Happy that we're breaking it on this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nowhere else. Ryan, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you. This is my fifth time on the podcast, so I'm just waiting for Steve Martin and John Mulaney to bestow a robe upon me like they do on Saturday Night Live.
Damn. No, we actually celebrate 6 times on this podcast because we're podcast 616.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, Ryan Reynolds better stop playing foosball. Stop drinking gin. Don't go on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Make another Marvel movie. Just so I can be on this podcast for no other reason.
Yeah, man. When he books, you book. Okay. Where does one begin to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine? I guess let's go into my guess thoughts. No, wait, that's a lie because I think Shelby has at least 45 minutes worth of things to say. So let me start. I'll just say this. I had a fantastic time at this movie. Would I have liked a plot? Absolutely. Would I have liked something to emotionally connect to and care about? Hundo P, 100%. Would I have liked to see the evolution of the other Deadpool characters like Marina Baccarin, Dopinder, Pete, Peter? Yes, absolutely. Yes. And also, would I have liked to have not spent time in the void, which I'm always wondering, and also spending time in the void with the TVA, thinking, are these people human beings? How do they breathe? Do they eat? Where is the TVA? Is it in Antarctica? Are they in another dimension? I would have loved not to have those questions, but I love my time there, and I loved all the cameos, and it was very funny. Good for Deadpool, and a great opening sequence. Those are my thoughts. Well, Shelby Quinn, general overall thoughts of Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think from minute I gave it like 5 minutes, and then I was just like, no, I'm mad. I'm mad at this movie.
Let's go.
I'm mad this got made. I'm mad that I am contributing to this being the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. I'm mad that Disney is going to keep pumping out these bullshit road trip movies with no character development, absolutely no stakes because no one can fucking die, and no emotional resonance. And yeah.
Heard, Chef.
Sean Levy, no, stop, man, stop.
Listener, Shelby is wagging the finger at Sean Levy. And there you go. We're going to dig in. We're going to dig in. But let's go to not Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Kappmeyer.
Yeah.
Deadpool Wolverine thoughts. What's going on?
Well, I'll start by saying I'm hot off the presses. I saw this movie at 9 a.m. at the Alamo Draft House in Chicago. And
wow.
Yeah, fresh in my mind. And today I'm happy to not be Ryan Reynolds because if I were him, I would be embarrassed to have been in this film. Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. No character development, no plot. And, this movie made me tired. It made me tired of the references. I mean, it took 40 seconds for Gossip Girl to be brought up. And that was after like 4 Disney and Fox references. Although I will say, there was somebody in front of me who was cackling. Full Deadpool outfit, by the way. Like Deadpool socks, Deadpool costume.
Mask
had a
too?
mask, but it held on to it. Didn't put it on, which is a choice to bring it with you and then to not do anything with it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this movie made me tired in the sense of, can it have one joke that isn't at the expense of someone who's in it? The production company, or that isn't just gross. Like, I don't know. Everything. There were 2 things that made me laugh, which we can talk about at some point in time.
I had one, and I was the only one in a packed 1:30 a.m. screening opening night at Universal City Walk. I was the only person in the theater.
The City Walk. Wait, the City Walk? Okay.
The City Walk.
Okay, so we have a 9 a.m. screening and a 1:30 a.m. screening. Potentially, could that have contributed to your viewing experience? Because I wanted to speak about my viewing experience.
Okay.
But in reaction to both of your responses, I'm glad I went first. So when I watched this, I went to a 7 o'clock screening at the Americana in Glendale. Truly
Mhm.
a fine theater in terms of the building, but the people of Glendale are truly the worst people to see a movie with ever. Um, I remember I saw Barbie for the second time at that theater, and like it
Yeah.
was dead. They had no joy in their hearts. The people of Glendale are truly the mole people of LA. I was seated next to this man who was with his friends, and I was seated next to the ringleader who was like telling all his friends where all the references came from. Yeah. So anytime, so like when the TVA showed up, he's like, "Oh, this is from Loki. So you guys, you should have watched Loki." And he kept doing it until Laura X-23 showed up. He's like, "Damn, I didn't watch Logan. Fuck!" And he started cursing himself for not watching Logan. He's like, "I haven't seen that in 3 years. God damn, I'm such an idiot." And I was like, "Good for you." Just want to say this to the any new fathers on the call. When I left the theater, it was about 10, and I saw two grown men, one dressed as Wolverine and one dressed as Deadpool, with their two children. And the grown men were getting drinks at the bar at the AMC and taking their children to a late night show. And I thought those are bad dads. Those are bad fathers. So just
It's a bold move.
pretty late to take your.
Uh,
These kids are also under 10, and you're taking them to a late night
Mm.
rated R movie. It's a bad father. Okay. How do we attack this? Well, okay, lack of character. Let's just talk about the Deadpool in general. Shelby Quinn, we checked in with Deadpool 1. I believe you were a fan. Has the repeat returns has it been depleting returns for you?
oh yeah. I think that is like a great summation of the de-evolution of how much I've enjoyed this performance of Deadpool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I also like the second Deadpool movie, so I think the first two were like decent in my book, but this was just like, it was just, I was just like so actively annoyed the whole time. Because now I think I also just feel like Ryan Reynolds is always Deadpool. Every movie he's in now, he's just this
Mhm.
character. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, why? Why have you latched on to this one?
Can I answer?
Yeah.
And we might lose some listeners after this. He's a bad actor. He's a bad actor. He's very handsome and kind of funny, but he's not interested. Maybe not a bad actor, but he's just not interested in doing anything with depth. I would say Deadpool 1, he kind of got there with like the origin story of Deadpool, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is him in Red Notice. This is him in that Christmas movie with Will Ferrell. This is him
Right.
in Van Wilder. This is him in Just Friends. Like he only has one mode, and that's talk as much as you can. Ryan Kappmeyer, when
Yeah.
you sat down to watch Deadpool and Wolverine, and you learned that
Mm.
you weren't going to be the Wolverine was not at all the Wolverine that we knew and love, and it was just some random one who owned the yellow suit. How much rage on a scale of 1 to 10? Where was your rage level at?
That's a good question. I don't know because yeah, this Wolverine didn't seem all that much different than the Wolverines I've seen. Granted, I haven't seen a lot of other like I haven't seen Logan. So I can commiserate with the mole people of Glendale, I suppose, which I don't necessarily want to, but I could if I had to. And
Sure,
so
sure.
yeah, I don't know. Outside of him drinking rubbing alcohol, like he was still kind of like this Byronic hero. He's very brooding. Like everything about him didn't seem all that different, and he's the worst of them all. I don't know.
Yeah, because
I
he
just
did nothing.
yeah. I was also like, so he was out and about on a Saturday night, and he didn't know something was going to happen, and then it happened, and so
Yeah, I
now
mean, he has
the
survivor's guilt. I mean, that
yeah.
sort of tracks for me, but
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
okay, that's a fair point. But the entire world also blames him. Like everyone in that
right,
universe, he's
yeah.
not welcome anywhere. I was kind of like,
well,
why?
Also, isn't the
Like,
whole thing that they like don't like the mutants? So wouldn't they be like stoked they got? I don't know. It's like
yeah.
the
yeah,
rules seem. If I agree.
very loose. It seems to be what I got was that he wasn't there when the humans had the final
Hmm.
solution for the X-Men and wiped out all the X-Men mutants. And then he started killing the bad people who did that, but then he wouldn't stop and he was killing good people. So he just kind of like has like
It's unraveled.
yeah, and just has like solo martial law to just go wherever he wants because people were like, "What are we gonna do? You can't kill the Wolverine."
It's a
The dreams are
bad
free.
final plan if they're not going to get him. Like he's at this point in time like considered one of the most powerful ones, right? Or at least the one that can kind of band everyone together.
Yeah, and not to be a total nerd who has a Marvel podcast that's been running for about 3 years now, but when they described Wolverine as Omega level mutant, I was like, how?
Mm.
Omega? Magneto and Storm are Omega level mutants. Wolverine, he's just
Yeah.
fucking Hayden Panettiere from Heroes. He's a little cheerleader. Sorry, I said it. Yeah, I was disappointed. I really wanted to. I thought this was going to be the Wolverine that we met in 2000, who like was in the fighting cages, met Rogue, then joined the X-Men, that whole thing. And I don't know, am I wrong that I would not have cared if they just resurrected Logan from the Logan movie? Shelby Quinn, am I wrong? Is that sacred text?
No, I kind of agree with you because I also like I saw something online, I think on Threads, that was like, what year does Deadpool take place in? And I was like, yeah, because if I think Logan is 2029 in that universe.
Mm.
And so if
Mhm.
the events of Deadpool and Wolverine are prior to that, isn't there still a Logan in that universe? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
they could have done it. I mean, and this, I wasn't going to talk about the Robert Downey Jr. announcement, but like this goes into the whole thing of like movie fans versus comic book fans. 'Cause I feel like people who are
Mhm.
comic book fans, we're used to characters being resurrected and being brought back all the time. And movie fans, like, I just see a lot of people are posting, like, oh, Tony Stark's death is meaningless because he's coming back as Doctor Doom. And it makes, the Logan death meaningless because Hugh Jackman's just back. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is this is an entertainment company. Like, do you not want to
Yeah.
see this man go shink shink with the claws?
I love a good shink shink.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me, brother. Everyone says about Ryan. Uh, I do apologize. I had a huge ass iced coffee.
Nice.
So I'm literally insane today. But it feels right for talking about this movie. Okay, so we have that. Base level, we're all mad. Great. Can we talk about the opening sequence? The bye bye bye. Um,
Yeah. The reason they didn't have a budget for practical blood.
Wait, is that the reason? What do you mean?
I don't know. It seems like it. I mean, the blood was like Gaio style blood done with like CGI. And I was
Mhm.
like, did they just ran out of money from the needle drops? Like,
I
That or pulling in Rob McElhenney and Matthew McConaughey for 4 lines.
yeah, right.
and Rob McElhenney, he got cut from the movie.
Oh, did he? I saw him in the. I was wondering. I was like, I didn't recognize his voice at all, but I saw him in the credits. I was like,
Yeah.
whatever. I guess he was there.
Apparently, there's a scene where he played a TVA agent and it got cut, and I find that hilarious for their friendship.
Dang.
Yeah, that
That
is
is funny.
funny.
I think listeners of this podcast know that this podcast is very supportive of the art of dance, and to
Mhm.
see the authentic NSYNC choreo for "Bye Bye Bye," the only NSYNC song I ever liked. Yeah, I stand by that. I stand by that. I was more of a Backstreet Boys fan. Ryan shocked. The "Bye Bye Bye" opening sequence, I loved it. I love the needle drops in this. It felt like I was back
Uh-huh.
at my middle school dance. This would have Alden played. Anybody else? Any shout outs to the needle drops in Deadpool and Wolverine?
I
some
mean,
good
I
bops, some
was,
good hits.
yeah, the soundtrack is very fun. And like, I was stoked to have like a prayer for a big fight sequence.
Like a Prayer, my girl, Avril Lavigne, Canada Queen. I'm with you.
Uh,
That was my go-to sad song as a preteen. She taught me feelings. What what did not teach me feelings was Deadpool. How do we? You both are in relationships. Talk to me about your feelings about Deadpool and what is the stripper girlfriend's name? Uh, Vanessa. Vanessa.
Vanessa, yeah. I was like, I don't know either.
Bit of a flip. I had forgotten. I thought she died, but I forgot that the end of Deadpool 2, they resurrect her. Um,
Yeah.
what? But they're broken up now because he's a useless do nothing.
Yeah. I
What was my
mean,
question?
it's other than the first Deadpool, I mean, it's like maybe they should have kept her dead if they weren't going to do anything with her.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Because if they're going to have her come back and like, because I remember there was speculation that she was I don't remember what hero, but like that she was going to become some sort of hero. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense if they're going to like team up or something, or if they do break up and then have to work together. And that's it. You know, something like that, like makes sense if you're bringing her back. But like, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a fool's errand to look for the logic in Deadpool. I know that, but it's weird to me that the trajectory is he wanted to go to a completely different multiverse, 616, get in line, and wanted to join that Avengers, but like then when in this current timeline or in the present day, his universe is being threatened of being deleted. But like if he had gotten on the Avengers, wouldn't he have left his universe entirely?
Yeah.
Maybe he thought he could bring the 9 people he loved with him. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen more of the Deadpool roster that we had gotten to know, in the first 2 movies. He's like trying to save them, but in my mind, they're already dead because they're not on screen.
Yeah.
So like what's the difference? Instead we get cameos on cameos on cameos. We'll save those for after the break. Don't you dare talk about them yet. I want people to keep listening. So as best we can, let's talk about this plot. And so we get Mr. Paradox, Ryan Kappmeyer. You, producer Michael does research on all our guests.
Yes.
Fantastic research that he does, and he found that you were actually for a short time the barista for Mr. Paradox. What was that like? What was his coffee order like? How was he in the morning?
Yeah. Well, he orders brevets, which are lattes but made with heavy cream, and he would always make some sort of fun about it too. So he would say like, I'm what was one? They were so bad they've escaped my mind over the
Of
course of
course.
time. So if I think of one, nice guy, good tipper.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was sort of his MO.
Very nice. Also, Ryan has started a coffee company.
Yeah, check it out.
Coffee culture, contra
Cult
coffee,
classic coffee.
cult
Cult
coffee,
cult classic coffee.
cult classic coffee.
You'll get it. You'll get there.
You'll get there, and so will you, listener.
Thank you.
Cult classic coffee. Ryan knows coffee. Yes, but authentic question, Ryan, Mr. Paradox. How
Yeah.
was it seeing Tom Wambsgans outside of Succession?
Well, I know that producer Michael has done a lot of research on me, and part of that research uncovered that I do not watch Succession, nor had I. I'm sorry, I can only watch so many shows where everyone is a terrible person, and I have chosen not to. Oh God, he's bereft. Yes, Damon, go ahead. I can tell you're teeming with there's steam coming out of your ears like a cartoon teapot. Please go ahead.
Succession is the greatest show of the decade. I don't care how many bad people shows you watch. This is the one to watch.
Yeah, honestly, I second that.
Yeah, I know. Everyone tells me this. Everyone I love, the 9 people in this world that I love, have all told me that I need to. I have the Polaroid hanging on my wall behind me, as is
I see
tradition.
it. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it. Yeah, I mean, the character, what's going on? I think there's a lot of unanswered questions, like everything else in this movie. Like I kind of understand, but like who is he? Like why does he run this organization? Is he a person? Because he had the little fingers going through his face, and he didn't seem to come out of that with any sort of, he came out unscathed.
Mhm.
Which for Wolverine and Deadpool makes sense, but they can kind of come back. Why does he get the finger treatment and he's just fine?
Well,
He got his nose broken. which lasted the whole movie. Then there's fingers in your brain, and all of a sudden you don't get pain.
That brings me back to my original question with the TVA, which listen to our coverage
Yes.
on Loki season 1 and season 2. What are these people? Are they?
Yeah, I don't.
What
I didn't. So,
is their biology?
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I have to say. More questions than thoughts.
Well, speaking of fingers and thoughts, Cassandra Nova is our other villain. I love this bitch. She rocks. I just her like her telekinetic and like making Wolverine stab himself is worth the price of admission, which was free because I'm an AMC Stubs member. But Shelby Quinn, talk to me about Cassandra Nova. Necessary for the movie or just another distraction?
I mean, it probably was the most active through line in the movie once they got to the void. Like, how do we get out? Oh, she's the MacGuffin to get out. Kind of like, in
Mhm.
that sense, it was like a driving force for any kind of semblance of plot. But yeah, I just wish they didn't burn her on this movie because, like, it also seemed like she just died
Mm.
at the end, and it's like, well, fuck, like we lost a kind of potentially interesting X-Men antagonist over this movie, you know?
I hear you, but I kind of love that she was the
Yeah.
villain for this movie because she's such a powerful foe that I like that her demise was the goofy one. Like
Uh-huh.
Mm.
I think in like the my comedy brain is like, well, yeah, you know, like Looney Tunes. Like the only way to defeat the biggest villain is to have someone that she underestimates the entire time.
Uh-huh.
So I like that. And also she can have a little bit more fun because I feel like if she was facing Captain America, she just would be more like, ooh, Mr. Burns fingers.
Right, yeah, she'd be like a Hella type of villain.
A hell, straight up
Yeah.
hella. But I enjoyed Cassandra and just like her plan and like her keeping this. So for me, this whole movie was like the island of misfit toys. Like I really bought
Mm-hmm.
into the idea of like these are the rejected heroes, and there's like the meta commentary of like 20th Century Fox is closing its gates for the
Mm-hmm.
final time. Who knows? Um, and like these are like the forgotten heroes and slash or the heroes that were made before we decided to franchise shit. They didn't know, but I like that they gave these heroes their last hurrah, and we'll go into them and we'll talk about their hurrahs and who was worth seeing again and who should have stayed behind and who was missing. But we have to do something that Deadpool would never do. We're gonna take a break. And we get back. When we get back, we'll talk about all those cameos and probably more in depth about Wolverine. Maybe we haven't covered him enough, but we're going to talk more about this movie that I liked. My guests, I think, did not, and that's okay because this is a free fucking country. The coffee is strong. We'll be right back with more Deadpool Wolverine. Keep it right here to Podcast 616.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Support for Podcast 616 is brought to you by Newark and Zanesville Auto Body. Safe, reliable collision repairs are their business. Local, family-run, and veteran-owned business serving Newark, Ohio, and Zanesville, Ohio, and surrounding areas. And guess what? They work with all insurance providers to make your experience hassle-free. Plus, ask about their special discounts for U.S. military veterans. Visit them today at autobodyofnewark.com and autobodyofzanesville.com to get your repair started. Their iCar Gold Class team of skilled collision repair technicians will make your vehicle like new again. And we're back. Shelby Quinn. So producer Michael did some research on all our guests, and you are actually a talent agent. That is so crazy. And you're
Yeah.
specifically a talent agent for, let me see if I got this list right. Chris Evans, Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner, Channing Tatum, and that guy who played Pyro.
Also
and,
Toad.
and Toad. And Toad too.
And Totium.
How was it getting the call, and like what was it like to get this call that all your clients were needed for Deadpool and Wolverine?
Well, the tricky thing was actually my former client, Sabretooth, was no longer on my roster, and I knew that he was going to be a very essential one for this film. So
Very.
I really had to call in some favors that I didn't want to cash in, but I was like, Disney's first R-rated movie, have to be a part of that history.
Got to. And also, I love that actor, he lives his life as Sabretooth. Never out of that.
Yes.
Never out of that costume.
No, he always, that's his real hair. It's not a wig.
Fascinating. Also decapitated very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, if I was still his agent, it would have been a different story. But...
Right. That's a true Hollywood story that we're here to tell you. Cameos. I love a cameo. And I don't know, this one delivered. I don't know about y'all. Chris Evans. How did you feel when that Chris Evans cameo happened? Like, I don't want to lead you in any way, so I felt like it was monumental. But Ryan, you're sweating. So what are your thoughts?
I am sweating. I also had a giant iced coffee, and I just got done seeing this movie, so I'm very sweaty.
Oh, you meant 9 a.m. today?
9 a.m. today, yes. As of
oh wow,
yeah, hot off the presses. I'm telling you. Yeah, what did I think of? I did appreciate. At first, I was kind of like, okay, they're just gonna do like gratuitous, like inside baseball Marvel things, which I know is kind of like this movie's thing, Deadpool's thing, for sure. But I did appreciate when he said "flame on" because those movies are notoriously panned, right?
Bad.
I was like, I feel like I saw the first one in like high school or whatever that was. So I did appreciate that being. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say, producer Michael almost quit the podcast when we covered those movies. He almost walked. He almost walked out.
I almost walked out of this movie at one point, and I'll reveal why later. I told myself if something happened, I was going to get up and leave. I didn't. But there's a little tidbit we can talk about later. So I did appreciate that it was. I thought that was like kind of funny that it ended up being the Human Torch. What's his name? Steve Torch.
Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. Okay.
Steve Torch.
I don't know.
I wish it was
Johnny
Steve
Storm.
Torch.
It honestly would make more sense. So yeah, I don't know. I appreciated that it wasn't just what we all kind of thought it was going to be, and that it was pretty short-lived. Although again, like why you just wanted to have Chris Evans in this movie for that one sort of bit, and then you kill him off pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was interesting who signed up for just one scene and who was like, we'll do a couple days. It's like, I'll say this, the final battle, I don't know, and I talked about this with Chase, I don't know if Elektra, Blade, Gambit, and X-23 would have been the backup I would have wanted. I also would have wanted some like aerial firepower from the Human Torch if I was building a superhero army, which I think about at least twice a week. I'm just saying that. I think with the cameos, I want to go to, because you both alluded to, I think, Ryan, you said you laughed twice, and Shelby, you laughed once. So let's trade off. Let's start with Ryan. What was the one time you laughed?
Yeah, I'll go in chronological order. So it was actually in the opening fight scene when he had like the Wolverine claws on, and they were like both stuck in someone, and the guy in the front just kept going, "Make it stop! Make it stop!" I thought that made me chuckle. That did get like a genuine laugh out of me. So that was the first of only a couple laughs.
Hilarious. A little Human Centipede humor for you.
Yeah, sure.
9 a.m. That 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, nothing better than Human Centipede humor at 9 a.m.
Shelby, your one laugh.
Okay, it was a cameo thing. And mind you, I was the only person that laughed in a fully packed house opening night, Universal City Walk, 1:30 a.m. And it was when Channing Tatum as Gambit was talking, and Ryan Reynolds says something about him being Sling Blade.
Yeah.
which is just such a fucked up show.
I love
A
it. I love
pretty
it.
universal reference. Billy Bob Thornton won an Oscar for that movie, so
Did he really?
He did.
Good for Billy Bob.
yeah.
Okay, so we have the, and then finally back to Ryan. The other time you laughed, we're just counting the laughs.
Yeah, just every time Channing Tatum, like when they were just at the in like that little house or whatever it was, that
Yeah.
had like a tub in the middle of it.
Mhm,
When they were talking, yeah, just like his accent in general. That was like the one cameo I appreciated was Channing Tatum being in it, because just hearing, he killed that accent. Good delivery, good comedic timing or not timing, but you know,
Oh yeah,
good comedy from Channing Tatum.
Sure, time is a factor of it. Love Channing Tatum because it was, there was like rumors he was supposed to play Gambit in possibly a Gambit solo movie, so that was like,
Yeah.
to dig that up. That's great. I'm gonna give a shout out, and I know no one's gonna do this. My homegirl, the motherless daughter herself, Elektra. Real fans of this podcast know we are reclaiming Elektra. It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. The beat where they established that like Daredevil was there and he died, and Deadpool goes to Elektra, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Deadpool died," and Elektra goes, "Meh, that's fine." That's so funny because she's talking about Ben Affleck, and that made me laugh. And like, it's also really funny because Ben Affleck's, I'm sure when they filmed it, he was doing fine, but he's doing worse now. So hilarious to me. Watch Jennifer Lopez's documentary, and you'll see why they're getting divorced. Anyway, I love the cameos. Okay, let Blade coverage 2024. Y'all are both my Blade heads. That's what I call people who who guested on our Blade podcasts. How was Wesley Snipes? How was he? Shelby Quinn, I'll go to you first.
Okay, I mean, I'm excited anytime I get to see Wesley Snipes, and I actually do think he is a great comedian. So very sad that they didn't at least give him some comedy shit for this. But like, yeah, I mean, come on, if you're gonna have Blade, like at least give him some crazy weapons and swords and like one vampire, or like,
Yeah,
we want to see Blade do Blade stuff. And Blade works with a team,
it's true. I mean, he had the rocket launcher moment, and then they gave him the curved boomerang knife thing with the curved S knife.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a little bit of that.
A little.
Ryan Kappmeyer, as someone who has talked at least in the last year about Blade Trinity on this podcast, because I think we talked about that there was tension between Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes on the set of that movie.
Oh yeah.
What do you think it took for Ryan Reynolds to convince Wesley Snipes to do this movie?
Oh gosh, I mean, probably a couple zeros, I gotta imagine, were involved to some extent.
Yes.
Being able to reprise that role. I don't know. Part of me hopes it's like I don't want to get inside baseball about a different franchise, but it's like
we're already here.
Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel situation on the Fast and the Furious sets, because those two, they got beef. They like, that's why The Rock hasn't been in the last couple. So part of me thinks it's just kind of like Wesley Snipes is like, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna do my job, and Ryan Reynolds like, I'll be annoying because I'm Ryan Reynolds, and I am Deadpool. I'm Deadpool at this point. I get by on my cadence of speaking and the quantity of my words.
Did everyone just hear when Ryan was just speaking? Did you hear him say, "I am Ryan Reynolds"? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
I can't believe he did that to me.
Sorry.
Heard. Also, I did not know that The Rock and Vin Diesel have beef. Do you think it's because Vin Diesel gets confused who is who?
That's part of me hopes so. I guess they also have, again, sorry to dig too much into a different franchise, but they both have contracts, or everyone in that contract has, or everybody in those movies has contracts where like they cannot lose a fight. Like they have to give out as many punches as they take.
Wild, absolutely wild.
always happy to see Wesley Snipes. Yeah, I agree with you, Shelby. Great comedian. I know that Blade isn't like necessarily an inherently funny character, but like if you're gonna throw him in this movie, like, give him some, let Wesley shine is what I'm saying.
He did drop a hard R in a very creative way. I thought I did have a surprise laugh. Did we catch that moment? Because
No.
I don't know if I did.
Deadpool says, "Wait, aren't you retired?" And Blade just goes,
Oh,
"He's like, did you
hmm
say
hmm
the R word?"
I did catch that. Yes.
I
Oh, yeah.
It was a little bit of a blood laugh, but I was just like, man, I can't believe Disney. Disney let that go.
Yeah.
Um, so here we are. We've got our crew. Um, get a little shout out to we're mostly in the void for most of this movie, which again, where is that on a map? Show me on a map. Are we in space or are we underground? Are we in our thoughts? Where is it? How do I get there? Sorry. I'll never have an answer. We're in the void. Shout out to Eliath, Loki, season 1, episode 5. That made me laugh. And basically, we're gonna use Cassandra to get back to Earth 10,005 so we can
Mhm.
have this epic moment. My favorite moment of this whole movie is when they get back to Earth 10,005 and Wolverine puts on the mask and they do a little fight. They fight all the Deadpools, which, is useless. Shelby, do you feel this is going to be a leading question because I'm a journalism minor, not major. Shelby Quinn, do you feel that the frustration that we're feeling for Deadpool and Wolverine stems from the fact that these are regenerative superheroes and that nothing ever really matters because they'll always survive and there's no
Like, yes and no, because I actually think what X-Men, Logan for sure. I mean, he does die in Logan, but like what X-Men has always done with Wolverine and even some of the earlier Deadpool movies is because the regenerative power makes them invincible. So there's not a lot of like superhero fighting stakes. They make something tied very emotionally to the core of that character that is putting somebody else out of their control at stake. And that is what drives the movie. And in this one, it's kind of sort of like nebulous because it's like they're saving Deadpool's world and it's a redemption arc. So those are kind of the emotional stakes. But because we don't have any time with any of the characters that actually add color and like happiness and joy and love in Deadpool's world, it kind of falls flat because we also don't really get more than an expo dump for Logan's emotional stakes.
yeah. Yeah. It helps to have someone who can reach into your brain and tell us your backstory.
Yeah.
I've always said that, right? Michael knows. I've always said that. Okay. I think this is the moment where we should all say, what was the moment that made you want to walk out of this theater? We know Ryan has one. I think for me, I almost wanted to walk out when Cassandra did that flip. Like we have this kind of like healing moment where she like you're because we haven't said it, but she's the aborted twin of Professor X, or like not like
Yeah.
aborted, but like
Yeah.
forgotten.
Yeah.
She ended up in the void. When she like flipped and she's like, actually, I want to destroy everything. I almost walked out, but then we got that shirtless scene with Hugh Jackman, and I stayed. Shelby Quinn, what if there's more than one? Feel free to share. But what moments made you almost want to walk out of this movie?
Like I actually don't know if I have one specific moment,
Mm-hmm.
but and it's not that it was just so blanketly bad, but it bothered me so much also for like an action movie like that there were like the fight sequences didn't seem that engaging to me, especially with like the cameos and stuff. I would have liked to seen like those heroes do what they're known for, and like also like see Wolverine like do Wolverine shit. It felt like a lot of stuff was off camera. I don't know if that was like a Disney thing. I don't know if that
Mhm.
CGI blood was a Disney thing or if it was like a weird budget thing. But like, yeah, the fighting just I liked the car scene, but also Deadpool, the first one, has that iconic car fight. So I was like, we're
Yeah.
kind of rehashing stuff. So
Yes,
yeah,
but under a different company logo,
true.
under new management. Okay, Ryan Kappmeyer, you had a moment that you wanted to walk
I
out of this
did.
movie.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah, I
share.
mean, so there were probably several, but when all the Deadpools came out, I knew there was going to be cameos galore, and I was like, if the lady pool, is that what they reference her at? I was like,
Yep.
if that's Blake Lively, I'm going to stand up and slowly leave this theater. Not because I don't like Blake Lively, nothing against her, but I was just like, if this is how like referential they're going to get, I cannot handle it.
I think you hate Blake Lively because didn't you say you hated the Gossip Girl reference earlier in the movie? Blake
Yeah, the
Lively
reference, it
famously,
has nothing against Gossip Girl or Blake Lively. It's more against how much they have to dig into Ryan Reynolds' personal life. I'm surprised they didn't. Hugh Jackman wasn't drinking aviation gin, or Mr. Paradox's phone wasn't a bit mobile phone, or that there weren't any Wrexham references or something. They talked about Van Wilder 4 times too, and I hated that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But what
Also,
started it all?
I think his son is also in the movie, and maybe his brother
Both his kids are in the movie. The kid
of
pool
both
and
kids.
the baby pool, those are both Ryan
Mm.
Reynolds' kids.
Yeah.
Hey, start
And
him young.
I thought that and having his wife in there was like really cool family outing, but apparently it annoyed Ryan Kappmeyer.
Again, I didn't know that those were his kids, and I just, at that point, I was over how self-referential everything was at that point in time.
I get you. I get you. I hear you. But it's, I guess for me, it's like going to the only band I can think of is Corn with a K.
Hmm.
It's like going to a
Thank you,
corn, you know,
thank you for specifying it's with a K,
Corn with
not
a K.
corn with a C.
No, it's not the band Corn, the vegetable. This is Corn,
No,
the
no.
band.
Yeah. New metal,
New
early
metal.
2000s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. It's like you're going to a Corn concert and you're mad that they just scream the whole time. Like that's what they're gonna do. That's what Ryan Reynolds is gonna do. That's how I feel. And
Yeah.
I mean, Deadpool's gonna Deadpool. Which I hate when people say that, but unfortunately that is how I feel with this. Um, let's do a wrap up. They saved the day, I guess. They saved Universe 10,005. We barely spent any time in there, but they saved it. Thank goodness. And then everyone lives, to quote that Doctor Who episode, everyone lives. And Logan and X-23 move in to the 10,005 universe. They celebrate Deadpool's birthday, and everything's fine. And actually, I did hate the moment where Hugh Jackman, Logan was just like, talk to the girl. I fucking hate that. Like that's gonna all she needs is just someone to talk to her. Like, no, you need to. I mean, no. I don't know. Am I wrong? Is that you just have to
No.
talk? God.
Not at all.
Yeah. I guess we're left with maybe Vanessa, ex stripper, will reconcile with Deadpool. Is there any final thoughts? Last call for final thoughts. Is there anything that was not mentioned that y'all were like, I want to say this?
There's a couple things I want to say actually. Now, between Deadpool and Vanessa, like, what was that dialogue? What were they like ultimately trying to say in like that first scene and everything? I was like, I don't understand what. Like, I kind of get like what the conflict was, but then it's like you have to do something, and it's like, what does that mean? That's like all she wants, and then he does something, and then
Well,
everything's cool.
she's the rare superhero girlfriend who wants her boyfriend to be a superhero. Even
Okay.
though the result is still the same, they still break up with them because I feel like most girlfriends like, don't do
Hmm.
it, don't be a hero. superhero, not real girlfriends, but superhero
Yeah.
girlfriends in these movies. But she was like, I wanted you to be a hero because remember how crazy she was in the first Deadpool movie? And they kind of
Mhm.
chilled her out now. And she hates that he's like selling used cars with my husband, Rob Delaney. Sorry. Yeah, sorry to announce that.
Oh my God.
It's
Wait,
huge. It's huge
we weren't
news.
invited?
No one was. It was very
Oh,
secret.
okay.
He's so
Yeah.
famous. Yeah, like Ryan, was that the conversation you were talking about, like at the very beginning when we first see them?
Yes. And then kind of at the end too, where it's like, what's up? Who wrote this?
Ryan
This is
Reynolds.
the final draft.
Hey,
I mean, they did a lot of the movie during the strike.
yeah. And
Very true.
I've always said this when I'm looking at the writers, there are five men listed for writing this.
Mm-hmm.
That's never good. It's never good when it's five people, regardless of gender. Like if it takes
Yeah.
five people to write one movie, TKO. Shelby Quinn, any final thoughts that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ryan, I approve of like continuing with Detective Pikachu as a franchise.
No.
But I think we can retire this
Deadpool.
for now. Just have Peter Pool take over.
Peter Pool. Oh my gosh. I mean, we do have to find out why was Thor crying. Why would anyone cry over Deadpool? I think is a real question. But on this podcast, we have one final question that we need to ask. Who are you fucking? Who are you marrying? Who are you killing? Fuck, marry, kill. We are back. Did you think we forgot? Listener, you idiot. I'm so sorry. That wasn't me. That was Ryan who said that. I would never call my listeners idiots. I love you all so much. Leave a review. We're gonna do fuck, marry, kill. We have our three people on the docket today. We've got Deadpool and Wolverine and Mr. Paradox himself. We will pick one person to fuck, marry, and or kill. I will go first, give my guests time to think about their answers. I will say this. I'm going to kill Deadpool. I think I've always killed Deadpool in this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too personal, but there was a man that I was hooking up with back in Chicago, and this man would always do bits during the intercourse,
Mm.
and it was very annoying. And I just
Yeah.
think Deadpool would also be that. And I'm literally happy to say this man's name offline. So if you want to know, text me. Even if you're listening, text me and I'll tell you. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was like he was auditioning for SNL for me. What a bad idea. So I feel like that would be what it would be like to be with Deadpool. So I'm going to kill Deadpool. I'm going to fuck Wolverine because, man, Hugh Jackman keeps it tight. What can I say? But also, whenever I think about Wolverine, I think about that moment in the first X-Men movie where he's having a nightmare and he wakes up and he stabs Rogue with the claws.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want that. So a one-time thing, in and out, we're out of there. I'm gonna marry Mr. Paradox, you know? And yes, I'm only marrying him because he's Tom from Succession.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You know what Deadpool and Wolverine has taught me? Nothing fucking matters. You can jump franchises. People can play different things or play old things that they've done. So I'm going to be with Mr. Paradox, but he will be, it's Tom from Succession. And that's how I feel. And I feel strongly and proud about everything I've said today. Shelby Quinn, let's go to you next. Who are your
Okay.
picks?
Absolutely killing Deadpool. Yeah, I think that demands no explanation. I think I'm gonna fuck Tom Wambsgans. I think forever with Tom, just too many questionable morals. I have a hard time believing he's a good tipper.
Probably terrible. Yes.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think just a one time thing, maybe a couple times, and then like once it gets crazy, like block his number, and then marrying Logan because I want to die first, and we don't have that problem.
Yeah. What an incredible stipulation. I love it. That would happen, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ryan Kappmeyer, not Reynolds. Let's go to
Thank you. Thank you for using my full legal name, by the way.
Not Reynolds.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to kill Deadpool. There's only so much that can be said about that. He's got to go. Yeah. And also, I could use another hobby. It's going to take a while, so why not dedicate a little bit of time to figuring that out? How
Yes.
it can get done. I'm going to fuck Logan. We all saw the final scene. We know what's up with that. You know. So yeah, let's get that going, and then yeah, I'll marry Tom / Mr. Paradox.
Yeah,
He's got
he's
some
Mr.
nice
Paradox too.
suits,
No.
right?
Ryan, you've never seen Success. You cannot call him Tom.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me circle back here. Also, he's British in this movie. Is he British in real life?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Well, the Europeans they lead the way in sexual exploration. So, see, yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Ryan, I feel like this is thin. I know I'm going to fall into a trap by asking this, but have you ever seen the 2005 Pride and Prejudice?
Mr. Darcy.
No.
Mr. Darcy. I would put money on it that your wife has.
100%.
I think she and I have similar viewing patterns, but he was the Mr. Darcy in the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. So he's important to the culture and to the universe.
He has a different hairline then.
Yeah. Very different.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we did it. It felt great. Okay, so that's Deadpool and Wolverine. You're probably gonna see it. Look at these numbers are crazy. I'm looking up. It was made for $200 million and it's made $658.9 million.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like, this is a train that we can't stop. And so I just say hop on board. And that's my advice. But truly, thank you both so much for doing this podcast. Thank you for this little Deadpool reunion. This is the Deadpool family. Shout outs to Catherine Biskupik and Ed Ree, who did Deadpool 2. You are not forgotten, except for now. Shelby Quinn, where can people find you online? And what's going on? What are you doing? What's happening?
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram at Tom Cruise of Finland or on Letterboxd at Tom Cruise of Finn. And I have upcoming shows with Redacted, who Damon has actually coached before, at the Pack, which has recently moved next to the clubhouse in Los Feliz. And yeah, I have, I think, a couple other things happening, but I'm going to be out of town for like a month. So
are you driving to where you're going to be out of town?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, go see Redacted. Truly such a wonderful team. And also that new location for the Pack, a parking lot. Great parking. Great parking for comedy. Excellent. Ryan Kappmeyer, not Reynolds. Where can we find you?
Thank you. You can find me not posting much on Instagram at Kappmeyer Dude. You can find my old Twitter, which is, for all intents and purposes, inactive at this point, at the same handle. If you're local to Chicago and you like cold brew, go to cultclassiccoffee.com. Also check out the short film. I don't know if you've heard about it. There's a short film that's coming out soon, Surgeons. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, that's the last thing that I'll plug.
Thank you very much. Yes, Surgeons. Yes, we'll get to that. Yes, thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much. Drink this coffee. It's great. This is Podcast 616. You can follow this podcast on Instagram and TikTok as at Podcast 616 P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, the podcasting network that lets us talk about Deadpool and Wolverine whenever I want to, honestly. I truly have carte blanche. They have not stopped me since. And we have an announcement. I should have said at the top, but we have an announcement at the end of this podcast. But you can also follow me, Damon, on Instagram at Black Chandler, BLK like Black and Chandler like Chandler Bing. You can also follow the short film Surgeons at Surgeons_short. We finished filming and I'm looking at rough cuts right now and I'm amazing in it. I guess that's what I say. And so is Evan Mills, and like the crew is amazing. And Rob Vorncall, I owe him my liver. This podcast, we are going to be doing a little shift in the coming months. We are going to be covering Batman. We're gonna do a Batman. We're gonna do a Batman fall, Batgirl fall. And we're gonna be starting with the Tim Burton movie. So we're very excited about that. Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast? And are you excited for Batman?
Yes, I am, and I'll give you guys an A+.
Oh. We love A double pluses. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Shelby. And they won't say it, but I will. Thank you, Deadpool. You keep me you keep me guessing, and it's always the same answer. We will be back in the fall, September. So please stay tuned to the space, and remember that until next time, with great power comes even greater responsibility. I remember it.